Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 4.6 Notes, Day 1. Today we're going to be talking about solving quadratic equations by using inverse operations, otherwise known as SADMEP. Our learning target today is to be able to solve the quadratic equations by using SADMEP. So remember that SADMEP is the reverse order of operations, okay? So remember that we have for the order of operations, there'd be parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So with SADMEP, we do the exact opposite of that. So we're looking for subtraction, addition first, then division and multiplication, then exponents and parentheses. So looking at example number 1. I have nothing outside of the parentheses except for a square. That's an exponent. So to get rid of exponents, I need to do the square root. And when I take the square root of 25, I actually get two numbers. Okay? So on the left side, those cancel out. And the square root of 25 is a positive and a negative 5. I don't know which one it is. It could be either one. Okay? And then to solve, I would add 3 to both sides. And the way we would write this is x equals 3 plus or minus 5. But then I want to know what those two answers are. So I would take 3 plus 5, which is 8, and 3 minus 5, which is negative 2. So I get my two answers of x equals negative 2 and 8. All right, example number 2. So same thing, I'm following the inverse operations. There is nothing outside of the parentheses except for the square root, so I need to take the square root of both numbers. So we got in the habit of breaking down the squares by, square roots by the perfect squares, and the perfect squares are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Do you have all these memorized yet? I hope so. 100, 121, 144, but I can't break this down. There's nothing that breaks that down, so I would just leave that as plus or minus the square root of 10. So now that we've done that, all I have is the x plus 4. To solve, I would subtract 4 to both sides. Those cancel. On the right side, I can't do negative 4 minus the square root of 10. So I would just have negative 4 out front, and then plus or minus the square root of 10. Just like when we were using the quadratic formula and we couldn't go any further. Okay, this is our exact answer. All right, number 3. Once again, we're looking here. There's nothing to do except to take the square root. And uh-oh, I'm taking the square root of a negative number. So on the left side, I have x plus 6, and that equals the square root of negative 4. Well, the square root of negative 4 I can break down because the negative turns into an I, and then I have the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is a perfect square. So that's a 2, and it turns into 2i. So I have plus or minus 2i, and then to solve for x, I would subtract 6 to both sides, and then once again, I'm going to bring the negative 6 out front, plus or minus, excuse me, 2i. I can't do negative 6 plus 2 and negative 6 minus 2 because the I is connected to the 2. All right, number 4, this is the first time that we're seeing a number outside. So I have to, SADMEP. SADMEP means I need to cancel addition or subtraction first. So then we have x minus 5 squared equaling 108. And then I can take the square root. And then I have x minus 5 equaling plus or minus, but I got to come over here and break down 108. So using your calculators, you should be trying to find out what perfect square goes into 108. So we would start with the highest, which is 100. No. 108, the next one, 81. 64. 49. So 36? Yeah, 36. So this breaks down to the square root of 36 and the square root of 3, and the square root of 36 is 6. So we have 6 square root 3. And then to get the x by itself, I'm adding 5 to both sides, and we bring that 5 out front. So we get x equals 5 plus or minus 6 square root 3. All right, number 5. Okay, we cancel addition or subtraction first. So I'm going to add 19 to both sides. And then we get x plus 2 squared equals 121. I take the square root of both sides, and then I get x plus 2 equals plus or minus. Now, 121 is one of our perfect squares. I can just, boom, get my answer. Okay, so it's plus or minus 11. And then I'm subtracting 2 to both sides to get x equals negative 2 plus or minus 11. And for here, I can actually get my answer. So I can do negative 2 plus 11 and negative 2 minus 11. Negative 2 plus 11 is 9. Negative 2 minus 11 is negative 13. So my final answer is x equals negative 13 and 9. Okay, so here's my parentheses, there's my square, but how do I get rid of that 2/3? Well, to get rid of it, I would multiply by the reciprocal. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I have x minus 2 squared equals 36 times 3 over 2. And that gives us 54. So now I take the square root of both sides. I'm going to get x minus 2 equals plus or minus, and then I got to come over here to break down 54. Okay, we've done 54 a couple of times, so we should know that it's 9 and 6. The square root of 9 is 3. And then we've got the root 6 left over. So 3 root 6. And then to get the x by itself, I have to add 2 to both sides. So we get x equals 2 plus or minus 3 square root 6. All right, number 7. All right, same thing. Cancel addition or subtraction first. I have subtraction, so I'm going to cancel it with addition. And we have -2 times x minus 5 squared equals 288. I have multiplication right here. To cancel multiplication, I'm going to divide both sides by -2. And I get x minus 5 squared equals, I think I know it, but just for the sake of it, we get -144. To cancel the square, I do square roots. And then off to the side, I need to do -144. What's the square root of -144? Well, it's negative, so I know there's an I, and then the square root of 144, which is one of our numbers. If it's one of your numbers, you can just take the square root of it. And it tells you if you haven't memorized it. Okay, so this is 12i. So x minus 5 equals plus or minus 12i. To get the x by itself, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And we get x equals 5 plus or minus 12i. And I can't do the 12 plus 5 once again because it's got the I connected to it. Okay, it's an imaginary and a real number. I can't combine those. All right, number 8. Remember, SADMEP, addition or subtraction first. You got to get rid of that 1. Okay, so we have 1/4 times x plus 8 squared equals 16. I have a fraction, and to get rid of a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. 4/1 is the same thing as 4. So we have x plus 8 squared equals 64. I need to cancel the square root, or the square, with a square root. So we get x plus 8 equals plus or minus. I'm not doing this off to the side because 64 is a perfect square. And that is 8. Okay, so I want to see if you guys can take it from here and solve it. So go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, so this one we could have actually broken down because it's just 8. So we do -8 plus 8, which is 0, and -8 minus 8, which is -16. So we get that x equals -16 and 0. Remember, when we can simplify, I want to know what the exact answer is. Okay? All right, number 9. Okay, cancel addition or subtraction first, so I'm subtracting 4 to each side, and we get 3 times x minus 7 squared equals 48. And then do you guys want to see if you can solve it from here? I think you can do it. Okay, I'll help you out. We need to get rid of the 3, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And then we have x minus 7 squared equals, I don't know, but you guys are going to do the rest of the work, okay? When you pause the video, solve it, and then when you come back, you'll see my final answers. Good luck. Okay, so you should have gotten 16. The square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. And then when we add 7 to that, 7 or x equals 7 plus or minus 4. And then 7 plus 4 is 11, 7 minus 4 is 3, so we get our two answers of 3 and 11. All right, last one. Okay, so I need to get rid of addition or subtraction first, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And then we get, oh, hold on. Sorry about that. So we have negative 4/5 x plus 1 squared equals 36. Now I have that negative 4/5. I want to multiply by the reciprocal, and if it's negative, yes, it stays negative. And then we have x plus 1 squared equals whatever 36 times negative 5/4 is. And we get negative 45. Okay, so I want to take the square root of both sides to cancel out my square. And we'll get x plus 1 equals plus or minus. And then I got to figure out what the square root of negative 45 is. Well, it's negative, so I know that there's an I. So I have that and 45. Oops, sorry. And then breaking down the 45, it's 9 and 5, and the square root of 9 is 3. So we have 3i square root 5. Don't forget your I there. Okay? And then I need to subtract 1 to both sides. And we get that x equals negative 1. That comes out first. Plus or minus 3i square root 5. And that's as far as we go. Okay? All right. Well, that is it for 4.6 notes, day 1. Your homework is on the back. Okay? Sorry, mine's a little, I think mine's also, oh, mine's not even there. Okay. There are answers on the back. So if you have any questions, just let us know. This is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 4.6 Notes, Day 1. Thanks for watching.